Anthony, look at me. I'm floating in space, all the way up in the sky in LA.
Look at me. I'm not.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. Anthony Melchiori, as always, so great to see you and so great to see everybody out there for checking out our show. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Anthony, I missed you, man. It's been 24 hours since I got to see you, and the pain has just been way too much.
You know what I realized, dude? We're coming up a year doing this live.
I know, right? That's unbelievable. I can't wait. I think that we should put together a 1-year type of anniversary show when we're ready to go. What do you think about that?
I think we should. And what we should do is, David, if you're listening to us, ask our audience, like do a poll, ask our audience their top 5 favorite podcasts or guests, and then we'll invite those 5 back.
Ooh, I like that. That's a great idea. All right. Before we get going, I just wanted to remind everybody about how awesome the good folks over at Best Buy are, because you already know I'm talking about them every day. BestBuy.com/hospitality is the place to go. Why? Because they've got over 4,000 folks in the Geek Squad that could help you swap in, swap out, all of that technology you have, help with IT consulting, lots of other great products. Be sure to check them out at bestbuy.com/hospitality. And Anthony, of course, we can't have a show without talking about the big secret out there. Shh, hotel property taxes are way too high. That's correct. You guys already know it. 2020 was hard on your occupancy rates. There is hope. Bright Support can help you save your budget this year. But if you don't ask, you don't get it, and Bright Support is there to help you. Book your free 30-minute consultation now at brightsupport.net/hotels or call 833-411-2233 and tell them No Vacancy News sent you and No Vacancy Live. Anthony,
You know what I love about them? They save something I love. And it's my favorite color. Green. It's green.
Just like my shirt, although it looks gray.
Dude, you missed it. You missed it.
The money's green, baby.
No, transition. Who's our friend?
Oh, shit. I missed it. And I dropped an expletive. We got a lot of great guests today, but starting off, we're going to join us is now making a triumphant return, Mr. Chris Green, CEO.
Chris, I gave it to him on a silver platter, Chris.
I don't know, Anthony. I mean, he missed it. It was a big old softball. It's so good to be back with everybody. It's great to see you guys. I'm
shaking my head right now. I also, I've got other big news. I don't know about you guys out there, but, the Alice conference rescheduled for July, and I just nailed myself a great reservation for a much lower price than they would like to tell you over at the Intercontinental Los Angeles. That's where I am floating today. Let's take a look at me floating up in the sky. Sorry, producer David, I'll let you do that. So there we go. That bar up top is awesome. At the last year's Alice conference, they had a great party up there. I absolutely loved it. But the reason why I'm actually featuring them today, guys, and just in a second, we're going to have Marco Roca Jr. on as a great guest. IHG has now actually changed their name, gentlemen, and I got a quick video all about it. You've got a number of hotels in the IHG family. First impressions.
I love it. Listen, there's a lot I don't like about this past year, but I love a lot of how companies have been reimagining themselves, looking to the future. I mean, we all know hospitality is going to be here to stay. It's something that matters to people. And companies are spending real time and real focus on getting to the essence of who they are and what they bring to the marketplace. And I think it's great. I love that IHG is thinking this way. The company's got great brands, so.
And I hope what they're doing from a commercial standpoint, social media standpoint, is really doing something to drive that IHG name. Just keep driving it, because people are familiar with Intercontinental, but they're not familiar with IHG. And Intercontinental, I understand why they changed it, because everybody associated them with just the Intercontinental brand. So it makes sense. But now I would love to see a really big push to get the consumer out there to really, have IHG just roll off their tongue.
I think they will. I mean, you saw the big news article from Sonesta today, and about how they've grown so much. There's some fragmentation, but I think there's an opportunity here for the really great brands to solidify themselves. I know David put a note up that Davidson just reimagined their name yesterday. I think it's the Davidson Hospitality. Super great company. John Belden and his team over there reimagining what it looks like to be a management offering, and adding their lifestyle and resort division. So I think companies are doing great things. I mean, last week you guys saw Hotel Equities. Brad, my friend over there, and his team partnered with the guys at Coakley to add a new division to the company. So this is an interesting and exciting time in the hospitality world.
Yeah, and they have, you said they have some great brands, and some great brands I've been very proud to develop and manage for them. So Chris, it's about a year anniversary. So how many years did this year take off your life?
A lot. I think I need a haircut, but you can't see I don't know how to look here, but the gray is just
your hair
really
looks
coming
good, brother.
through.
I like that color. Is that like your natural color? Or is that a little dye in there?
No, this is the real thing. A little bit of gray that looks blonde on the
pretty,
TV here.
Pretty.
I have a little confession to make. I actually dye my hair gray so people will take me more seriously.
It's hard to take you seriously, Glenn. It really is.
So a year later, man, what are you feeling?
Well, I mean, I'm feeling optimistic. I'm always optimistic, right? I'm looking at the path forward, but we didn't think we'd be here. And we thought we'd be further along, and it's just not the case. So I keep telling my team to hold that rope a little while longer, because that's all we can do is keep doing the right things.
Are you still? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll finish your thought.
I mean, I'm excited because business opportunities are popping up. As a matter of fact, the reason I got to go at 12:20 is I've got a big pitch for a deal for a resort here that the team is putting on at 12:30. So we're starting to see opportunities again that we weren't seeing for a while. So that's exciting. People are thinking about the future, and having my whole team still together after a year is something that we're very proud of as a company. And also it's allowing us to be ready for new assignments more quickly.
So, Chris, I'll be making an announcement here in a couple of weeks about my new deal, and we just signed a really big deal.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
See, things are happening. Things are happening.
Yeah.
And of course, I got no big deals going on right now. But if you
got a big deal, you got a big deal because you're our friend. If you're our friend, you're a big deal.
But don't miss my transition. I'm like, if you want to make a big deal and advertise here on No Vacancy Live,
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll advertise on my own podcast.
Check us out. All right. So, Chris, I want to take advantage of the last 10 minutes you have to bring in our next guest. And people have been saying to me, Glenn, you don't have enough Marcos on the show. Why don't you have enough Marcos on the show? Well, I'm changing that. So not only do I have one Marco on the show today, but I've got two Marco Rocas on the show today.
Wow.
One of my favorite. The only thing I don't like about Marco Roca is that I didn't get to know this guy earlier on. One of my favorite people in the business. Let's welcome Marco Roca and Marco Roca Jr. of Reveille Hospitality. Gentlemen, so great to see you guys.
Likewise.
Listen, if I knew this was a two Marco day, I would have changed my suit. I would have wore a tuxedo. I had no idea.
Marcos.
I had no idea this was a two Marco day.
That's hysterical.
We want to make you proud with the whole Italian thing, Anthony.
Yeah. You know, there's only two types of people, right? Italians and people that want to be Italian.
I don't know about that.
Oh, come on, Glenn. You want to be Italian so bad.
I'm already, listen, Jews and Italians, especially here on Long Island, are essentially the same thing. I've said this for years, except for that little Jesus hang-up thing. It's really the same. Jewish grandmothers, Italian grandmothers, you can't tell them apart. Indistinguishable.
That little Jewish hang-up thing. All right.
Although I'm not sure Italian old people shrink as much as us Jews shrink in old age. All right. Wait, hold on one second.
He's trying for a sound effect. I don't think it worked.
Oh, well, what are you going to do? Anyway, guys, the reason why Chris is here, you're here, and Chris will be here for a couple of minutes is because you two at Reveille are investing your money in different ways. We've been talking about quick service restaurants, how they're taking off. Chris is focused a little bit on that in his company as well to explain their opportunities. You guys just did a big 12-unit deal with Capriotti Sandwiches. Marco Sr., maybe you could just start off, tell us a little bit who you are, and then get right into that.
Sure. And thank you so much for having us on the show. It's a real honor. And Anthony, I hope to have the privilege of meeting you in person once. I've seen every single one of your shows on TV and learned a lot about them. You know, it's a great refresher for those of us that come from operations as a background. So I've been in the business 36 years, started in 84, opened Miami Airport, Hilton and Marina. A lot of years with Hilton, all the main companies, worked for Starwood, worked for Marriott, worked for IHG, before it was IHG, back when it was Bass, worked for Wyndham, and more recently was head of development for Hard Rock, and after that, head of development for Caesars Entertainment. So I've been around the block a little bit, 36 years in the business, done about 1,500 hotels, but who's counting, and about $50 billion worth of aggregated value. So once the Caesars opportunity ended, as things happen, Caesars, as you know, was acquired, and those of us who were on major positions there went off to do other things. So those other things for us looked a lot like development, and this was pre-COVID. So partnered with my son, and we were really focused on what is going to make it through what we thought would be a downturn economy. Studied all brands and came up with ESA being the winner of, because we did believe that there would be a downturn economy. We obviously had no clue that it would come in the form of a virus,
Right.
And that it would be then some. So as we've been developing that and relationships and raising cash and debt, which is not easy during this time, but we've had a lot of success in. We also wanted to do something that was more immediate and could happen quicker. So we looked at the QSR space and went through that same exercise of seeing what would be resilient and what would do best. And we came up with Capriati's, which I became a cap addict, as they call us, in Las Vegas, where they have more than 30 stores. So yes, we acquired a huge territory, Jupiter down to Key West. We're committed to a minimum of 12. We really want to do 30 by 30. And so that's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Well,
That's awesome.
Marco, I have a question for you. You said
Yes.
you partnered with your son. I hope he brought a lot of cash to the deal.
He actually did.
Oh, that's good.
Awesome. We seem to have lost Chris. I don't know what happened to him. Hopefully he'll be able to get back here before his big meeting. Marco Roca Jr., great to see you, man. I have not seen you in a long time. And I just have to get this out there. I love myself Capriati's. I too, Marco, discovered them in Las Vegas. Somehow I came into contact with someone who handles PR for them. And one time when I was staying at a hotel on the Strip, they sent over a pack of like 10 different sandwiches. And my buddy and I think ate most of all.
Well, I've not been there, and I don't even know that brand, so I look forward to when I'm in Vegas to try it. But I will tell you, go to the Wynn, and there's a little coffee place, sandwich place right across from the poker room. And I had a prime rib sandwich the other day, and I am telling you, it is the best sandwich I've ever had in my life. It rivals the rye at Katz's Deli, the pastrami on rye. Maybe I think it's better actually. It was so. Go copy that sandwich. That is the greatest sandwich I've ever had.
We've got a pretty good sandwich of our own with our Wagyu beef cheesesteak. But
all right, so I'm going to take both of those sandwiches, and I'm going to right here on my podcast, our podcast. I'm going to tell you which one's better.
I can't wait.
We'll make you proud.
All right, so Marco Jr., maybe you can just talk for a minute real quick, then we'll get Chris in because he has to get going, then we'll have a deeper conversation. So what's it like working with your dad? What's it like focusing on some of these QSR things, especially since you've been focused on the hotel business for so long, working for a couple of companies?
Well, partnering with my father has been a dream come true in so many senses. He's just absolutely brilliant in this space, has a deep breadth of experience, and I consider him my best friend and my partner. So getting to show up to work every day doesn't even seem like showing up to work. It just feels like a great time and a really wonderful, I'd say, intellectual and professional experience getting to build our dream together and work with some of our other favorite people. And we've hired a great team. We've recruited other members of the family outside of that team I just referred to. And we just obviously love everyone we're working with, and that's really special. So that's been wonderful. And working in the QSR space has been terrific as well. We're still extremely dedicated to hotels, and I'll let my father touch on what we're doing over there perhaps later in the conversation. But working on the QSR side, it really hasn't been so different from the hotel side in a lot of ways. I think we just look for a product that we really believe in and can get behind and think consumers are going to enjoy. But a lot of the same fundamentals, a lot of the same market analysis, a lot of the same kind of ROI math is very similar on the business side. But then on the experiential side, I think hotel training is absolutely critical to success in the restaurant business as well. And I think there's good reason they're both considered hospitality. At the end of the day, if your guests have a good experience with the people running your store or your hotel, they're likely to come back and your business is likely to thrive.
Right. Chris, we've only got a couple of minutes left with you. You guys have made a distinct focus on QSR, for example. Tell us a little bit more about that strategy and why you love pizza so much.
I mean, I love what Marco Sr. and Jr. are doing. First, I want to say, boy, I hope someday my son says those nice things about me, Marco. It should make you proud. But listen, we have the 7 Lido restaurants here in DC, and actually turning our hospitality, as Marco Jr. said, turning our hotel experience towards our restaurants during the pandemic has been unbelievable, and the results have been great. We've had our record year last year in our restaurant group. We actually just acquired the original founding restaurant of the Lido franchise, and so we are committed to that space, and we believe that the two are symbiotic with everything we do in hotels, that it can be cross-used, especially the e-commerce piece. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity in e-commerce, social on the restaurant side, doing a great job there to drive traffic into the restaurants and also drive your mobile experience, which has been unbelievably successful. So I love this space, and we're committed to expanding. We'd like to be, we're 7 restaurants now. We'd like to be 15, 20 restaurants in the next couple of years.
That's excellent. So let's see. We've only got a minute left with you, Chris. Maybe just say some final thoughts, and then you could get out of here, and then we'll go on with the Rocas.
I'm looking for things to turn on the hospitality side, hotels especially, right? I think we're going to see travel. Chris Nassetta said it, starting in Q2, maybe Q3, maybe the end of Q2. I'm hoping that that's the case, that we start seeing some business travel. Right now, it's still very depressed. So for all those associates that are still out there waiting for the business to come back, we're working as hard as we can to get you back. And I'm just hoping that that's the case.
How are you keeping your energy up, the positivity going, and keeping your staff at the home office engaged and excited?
By new opportunities. I mean, like I said, we've got a pitch coming up here in about 20 minutes that we're working on for a big resort. And we just had a couple of new assignments that we landed to start managing some hotels here in the Southeast. So I'm excited about that. So our team thrives on success and knowing that we're going to deliver for people. So ultimately, that keeps them motivated. I just am ready to get the rest of my team back. We still have over 1,500 associates laid off at the hotels. And without business returning, there's not much we can do. So that's what's on my mind every day. And for me, I hired Anthony. I like this. I hired a trainer, and I'm taking boxing training to help me get my frustrations out. So it's pretty fun.
Yes. Keep those elbows in, hands up.
After about 30 seconds, the elbows fall down because I'm so tired.
Do you know why? Because your front of your shoulders are weak. I was having the same problems, and I kept on putting my hands down. So I look forward to doing an exhibition charity boxing match with you.
Okay, that'll be great. Thanks for having me back, guys.
Hey, see you later, Chris. We really appreciate you. Hopefully you'll be back next week again.
I will.
All right, brother.
Excellent. See you later. Marco, how's your boxing skills?
Oh, I have none.
Yeah.
You're Italian. You have to have some.
Just dirty street fighting. That's all there is in this dog.
That's right.
All right. So, Marco, let's get into this a little bit. What made you decide, being that you're so focused on hotels for so many decades, no offense, that all of a sudden you decided to make an investment outside what we're traditionally see in hospitality?
Well, I woke up in Miami. I wanted a Cap sandwich, and they didn't have a store, so I figured, what the hell? Might as well bring them. No, that said, no, that's not the case. The space that we're in, hotels and particularly development, which we want to do new development, is just not moving at the pace that we needed it to. So in order to get some activity going and be able to be involved in something that is not only taking a lot of time and effort and financial investment, we'd like it to actually yield as well. And so it's just taking a bit longer than we'd expected on the hotel side. we probably would not have gotten into the QSR space had the pandemic not hit, because then we'd be well on our way to our 6th ESA, and we'd be off developing hotels and would never look back and wouldn't have the time to look at it. But because there haven't been loans available, because access to cash has been constrained, it's just a lot easier to go off and build a $500,000 restaurant than it is to build a $15 million hotel. That's, bare essentials.
Right. Sure. Anthony, Marco just mentioned ESA, which for those of you out there stands for Extended Stay America. They're an extended stay brand that's been around for a longer time. Last time I saw you, Marco, was December 2019, I think, although we might have had a drive-by hello at the Alice conference last January, if I recall. But, Anthony, Marco is just someone who's always ahead. He was into the extended stay hotels before other people were thinking about it. Now he's into the QSR type of a thing. What are you thinking about, Anthony, when you hear him talk about the QSR thing that's going on? After we've had Jim Holthauser on, for example, with Focus Brands focusing on that.
Well, I think what's happened during the pandemic, I think it's brilliant, because I don't think it's a short-term strategy. I don't think it's a short-term play. I don't think it's something that when COVID, hopefully dissipates from our memory for a while, that it's going away. I think we've been trained. I think that we've gotten, during this pandemic, you've gotten customers you wouldn't normally get. So, and like you said, one of the things that people always say to me, it's like, well, all the hotels you've ever done, especially for the show, have they turned out okay? And I'd say the majority, 80%, have stayed in business. And they say, why? I said, it's not me. It's because there's so much money invested. They have to either sell at basically a little bit of a loss, or they have to just hold on to it until they really figure it out, because there's so much money involved. In the QSR space, it's so much easier. Like you said, you can develop 15 restaurants for what you can develop one hotel for. And the one thing about that space, I've been in that space myself, it's hard. It's such a tough business. It's a good business, a good cash flow business, but it's a tough business. Retail is tough.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right, Anthony. And, we recognize that. And we say in Spanish, zapateros o zapatos, which is people who make shoes should be the shoemaker. And so we've gone out and we've created an ops team. We're not restaurant operators. We know what we don't know. We're really good at developing stuff, whether it's hotels or restaurants. I haven't been in operations in years and years, started there, but it's been too long. And this is a really tough business. It's extraordinarily physical and just really tough work, and takes people that have the knowledge and know the shortcuts and know how to deal with it. So we put together a really strong team that, Marco Jr. can tell you more about.
Marco?
Hi, guys. First off, apologies for the sound issues. Hopefully this is a little bit better.
This is the internet generation. Usually we have all sorts of problems, so this was nothing.
Good. Calling in from Crested Butte, Colorado. With that stated, back to the operations team that we've assembled. So we have two folks right now who I'd kind of refer to as the head of the management company as we go out, do rollout of various stores. And one of them is Peter Velas. He's an experienced owner-operator down in South Florida. He started Taco Bar from scratch, which to us was so impressive, because even with all the franchise support, it is still a tough business. So the fact that he knew how to do it without the tremendous support that a brand does offer, and did it well, spoke volumes to us. And we just really like him as well from a long-term friendship. And his right hand, who we're also very proud of, Ruby Macias. She's an FIU grad, knows the South Florida markets very well. And she was previously Employee of the Year at Four Seasons Surfside, which is debatably the top hotel in South Florida. And she got the designation for her excellence as a manager at Le Sirenus, their signature restaurant. So she knows F&B tremendously well as well. So very proud of them both. And we wouldn't even venture to do this if we didn't have a strong operations team in the two of them.
Wow. So how do you go about creating a dozen of these things? I mean, you haven't done any of them before. So 12 seems pretty aggressive, Marco Sr. How are you going to pull that off?
Yeah, really not very worried. If you can do one, you can do 30. And we think we can do one. And it's really cookie cutter. If this weren't a franchise, if we were trying to do 30 different concepts on our own and we're not F&B guys, it would be impossible. there'd be no sense in going any further. But you really cookie cutter these things. The franchise tells you what to buy. They lay out the entire grid for you. Everything is done for you other than getting in and operating them. So we've been through extensive training. We went to Vegas for 2 weeks where they really grilled us hard. I mean, I was dreaming of making Bobby's, which is their signature sandwich. So we got in there and we rolled up our sleeves and made sandwiches and did inventory and everything you need to do. But if you can do one, and the financing is so easy, I mean, you could either go to SBAs or Apple Pie Capital like us, or any of the many people that lend money for these concepts. You only need 20 to 30% down on $500,000. You're talking about pretty small investments. And then you just really need to be good at site selection, which through 36 years of hotel training, we've become pretty good at.
Right. That's fascinating. So what is it about that particular category you like? And I mean about sandwiches rather than pizza or Mexican or some of the other trends that we're seeing out there in the market.
Well, we looked at about 100 different brands, and we thought about all of them. We like the healthy food aspect of this brand. Everything is fresh. You can have salads with the protein on them. So we wanted it to be fresh, fast, casual. And the best option we came up with was this. And we also studied their behavior during the pandemic, and they're actually up 7.9% over last year, store to store. So, I mean, they've done extremely well. Most of their sales happen through aggregators. So 80% goes out the door in deliveries. And so it just really feels like something that'll be resilient. And to Anthony's point, we really feel like, the world has changed in so many ways, and this QSR space will continue to grow.
Yep. Anthony, you're on mute, Anthony. And muted yourself, buddy.
I got a question. In our world, hospitality world, third parties have been, just been eating our lunch, right? 20%, 18%, at one point 25%. Hotels, Expedia taking it. Now you have Uber Eats and you have all the other third parties now in this category. What do you do to defend against that expense?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the way that they've addressed it at the franchise level is really trying to lead people to your own website and have them order on your website.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
So then you can do your own delivery and save a tremendous amount of money. But I don't see it's that much different from the hospitality business and Travelocity and all the different groups that we have involved in our.
But in the hospitality industry, rate, solves all issues, right? So in your business, in the sandwich business and QSR business, the margins are much smaller. So you're never, like on a Sunday night, you're not going to be able to charge $100 for a sandwich, and on a Monday charge $12 for a sandwich, right? So that 15%, 20%, 30% you're charging for delivery, I mean, could really kill your stores.
Completely agreed. And obviously there are adjustments that are made to pricing when you order. That's why your Grubhub is so much more expensive than going to the restaurant physically.
So what's the true cost to the store for a delivery through Grubhub or something like that?
I say that the actual cost is probably in the 10% range after you put your add-on and additional costs markup onto it. So it's probably digging in a good 10%.
It's not as bad as I thought it was. I'd heard much bigger stories. As a matter of fact, I told my wife not to use any of those third-party services. Let's just go. It takes 2 minutes to drive over there, pick up the food. You're going to help the local restaurateur make more money. I don't even understand why these things have even appeared, because my local pizza places have been delivering since the 1970s. So if they could figure it out, I don't understand why other restaurant types couldn't figure it out. Marco Jr., what about you?
First off, I think America needs more consumers like Glenn. So we would absolutely love to have that be the attitude, that everyone just comes and does takeout versus us having to pay the commissions. Not so dissimilar from the hotel industry with direct bookings, as if we had alluded to. So to my father's point, we absolutely adore the product. When we were in Las Vegas, we had our Capriotti's masks on. We were getting high fives in the streets, and people were like, "Oh my God, we absolutely adore this." That's special. I mean, that's not something we found with Chipotle or Moe's or anything like that, as good as they are too. So it really has a raving fan culture. We liked that about it. And then the economics were just really interesting because we have about the same NOI as a Moe's, for example. But our average store build out's like 500,000, and one of those is going to be between $1 million and $1.5 million. So you could stamp out 2 or 3 of these, and you have the same cash flow. And then the default rate was extremely low, about 1% per year over the last 10 years or so. And when we started looking at the unit economics, you're putting in, call it about 100 to 150,000 a year, for the development on your equity side, and then you finance the rest. The average new store does 850,000 in revenue, 17% margin. Yeah, so 17% margins average. Actually, I have many doing 20 to 25%. So you're pulling out before your bank service over 100% of your initial equity each year. Yeah, and then you net out the bank service, your net income should be about 100%. So we looked at it. We said there's bank portfolio loans with higher than 1% default rates. We'd love to be in the business where instead of charging 4% interest, we're basically getting 100% cash on cash returns. So when we saw that and just happened to love the product, it was clear to us that this was something we needed to do.
And what's the great thing about that business? Everybody has to eat. And most people eat 3 meals a day.
Right.
And what's the average of people taking out food from a quick service restaurant? I would imagine you've done those numbers. How many times a week do most people order out or go out? Do you know that number?
It's really just so market dependent that it's hard to define that in broad strokes. Somewhere like Brickell, where we've looked to put a shop, or New York City, it's through the roof. But maybe in some more suburban markets, it's a bit lower. So I'd like to answer that more in reference to each market.
Well, anecdotally speaking, if you look at what supermarkets are doing around the country and how they've changed to prepared meals and stuff like that, it really shows that people are feeling in a time crunch and they want easy solutions for meals. Now, producer Dave has pulled a Grubhub restaurant charge breakdown. Dave, if you could pull that up, that'll be interesting to take a quick look at, assuming he has it ready to go. There we go. Boom. Right on it. All right. So I don't really quite understand. Commission, $206. A lot of charges there. So according to this, they really got licked in terms of fees. That's not so great. That must be a worst case scenario kind of one, Dave.
Well, so we did pay closer to a 20% commission, but to my father's point, since you charge more than the average cost, the actual cost to you is closer to 10%. But yeah, I mean, on an aggregate absolute dollar basis, it is about 20%. It's actually much higher if you're not a franchise concept. It could be 27 to 30% for those guys.
That's what I'm hearing.
If you're independent QSR in you guys' neighborhood, you should visit in person. Keep them in business.
Anthony, you muted yourself.
I saw. Is it this franchise in New York? I've not seen it.
I haven't seen any here. No, it's pretty good. Next time you're in Vegas, we'll go check it out.
They've sold a franchise. So they've sold a franchise in New York, and I believe it's being built out. They take about 6 to 8 months to build out usually. So you'll have one soon.
They can get some good deals here in New York in rent, that's for sure.
No doubt.
It's a good time.
We need to see those rent prices in New York come dropping so the average person can afford to live in the city again.
And to eat a sandwich.
Yeah, for sure. So I love this particular strategy, but guys, I don't want to forget the hotel business. And Marco Sr., you've been in it for decades, right? 36 years is what you had said. What do you think about right now the state of hospitality in terms of when you as an investor will once again feel comfortable pulling the trigger on a hotel deal?
Well, I think it depends on what segment of the hotel you're looking at, right? So, I mean, if you're going out and building big box meeting spaces, I probably won't be ready to do that right this moment.
Oh,
maybe to give it a bit of time.
That one.
But, for us with ESA, we are having a lot of traction. We are, I would say, within a month or two of announcing a big transaction where we've sourced private equity funds along with our own. And the debt is now, for the first time in a year of trying, we're now getting term sheets. So we're really excited about that. That, of course, is always going to be our passion and our drive. The QSR space is something that we're becoming interested in and we're doing more and more of. But look, I mean, our hearts are always going to be hotel based. And so we're really excited about what's going on with our ESA development. And we think that we're going to be making a very large announcement within the next 60 days.
You know, it's interesting. It's interesting. I just had a friend I was talking to who's coming back into the space, and I've never heard anyone. I've heard people get out of the restaurant industry or other industries and say, wow, I just want to do something else. I've never really heard anyone that's a real hospitality person get out of the business and not either they're like, okay, I'm done with the business, but I love the business, or they're like, I can't wait to get back in the business. I don't remember anyone, ever walking away from the business and say, I hate that business. Like if you're a hotel person specifically, like I love restaurants and I like developing them, but I'm not really what you would call, my passion's not in restaurants. My passion is in hospitality, which encompasses spas and restaurants and gyms and rooms and all kinds of stuff, right? But very rarely people like us say we don't love this business after 30 years. We love it more. I love it more today than and when I announced a new project, that will convince everyone. I love it more today than I did the day I walked into the business.
Anthony, I'm with you 1,000,000%. I've left the business twice. Once I went off to head up contract division for Simmons and Mattress Company and ended up creating the Heavenly Bed, which was obviously part of Hospitality's turnaround at one point.
Wait, talk about that. That's fascinating because Heavenly Bed changed everything. So
it really did. Well, let's just set it up for everybody, Marco. For those of you who don't know the Heavenly Bed, and I can't imagine somebody out there doesn't know the Heavenly Bed, but it actually got people to pay attention to sleeping in hotels. Who would have thought about it?
It's the bed's stupid, right?
Yeah, and besides how comfortable the bed was, it was finally the beginning of the end for the horrible floral bedspreads. Marco, take it away.
Yeah, so it was 1999. I had just left Starwood for the first time, not the second time. So I was hired by Simmons and Mattress Company to head up their contract division, contract being sales into hotels, hospitals, cruise ships, etc. And the first request for proposal on my desk was from Starwood that I had just left for a new mattress. And so I went off and learned a lot about mattresses very quickly. And we submitted our sample and we were selected. And so that became the Heavenly Bed. And the Heavenly Bed, of course, we were just responsible for the mattress. Connie Kim, a dear friend in the industry, created all the top of the bed, which is what made it that beautiful, white, fluffy bed that we all became so enamored with. And then that became a side business for me later on of selling mattresses to guests of hotels. That's a whole other story, but that was the one time I left the industry. The other time I left the industry was to go to Realogy, which was real estate. And what I wanted to tell Anthony is both times I left, I felt every morning like I forgot to put my shirt on. Something was always off for the 3-year periods I left twice. So I'll never leave. I love it more now than ever. Just right there with you, Anthony.
Well, let's update your reference. You mean you felt like you were walking into a grocery store and you forgot your mask in your car, is what you meant.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. So the bed at the W is really a Heavenly Bed under a different name with a different top, right?
That's correct. It was the same foundation, and it was the same mattress, same coil count. It did not have a pillow top like the Heavenly Bed. It was a tight top. But outside of that, it was basically the same construction. And you build a bed like you build a pizza. It's just layers of comfort over the independent pocketed coils in the case of...
You guys made the Algonquin bed for us, and we sold a lot of Algonquin beds.
Yes, we did. And
I remember. I don't know who I was dealing with. I don't remember who I was dealing with, but I was not a probably good person to deal with because I wanted a bed better or as good as the Heavenly Bed. Actually, better. I wanted a lot of our customers. It was probably the same bed. I don't know. All I know is that we sold a lot of them.
That's really. That's
it was
really
a great
important
business for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. So if you guys are looking forward to hospitality, what sectors of the hotel aspect of it are exciting you most in the future? Obviously, extended stay is on there, and you've got some deals with Extended Stay America. And for those of you watching, don't forget to check our show from earlier this week with Jimmy Taylor, who runs Extended Stay Hotels. For now, IHG Hotels and Resorts, and we could let you learn all about the story of what they're up to there with Staybridge, one of which Anthony created in New York City. So it's a great episode to go check out. So Marco Jr., why don't you take this one? What's exciting you most in the hospitality industry? And I know you've got boutique hotel background from a prior job that you have. Is that where you like, or do you find in other sectors to be better, maybe more profitable, even if not as?
Well, if I'm not allowed to plug extended stay anymore, I think my next favorite asset class within the hospitality world would have to be all inclusive. I think as soon as the bank financing comes back, it's going to be hot again. I think consumers love it. I think if you poll the average consumer on the data I've seen and you tell them they have all you can eat quality food and drinks at a hotel, they're willing to pay another $100 a night per person. And the real cost of the hotel to provide that is like $22. So that alone is obviously tremendous. And I think all-inclusive is just getting started. I think there's a lot of upside for it in certain markets and states even. One just opened in the Florida Keys, and it has rave reviews. I think we'll start to see it more. I actually think just calling from a mountain town right now and being at a mountain resort, the first person who figured out how to do it with an all-inclusive ski package is going to be remarkably successful. I think it's a model people really, really like, and it works for the hotels as well. And usually it's almost like an antagonistic relationship in that sense, where it's one or the other. So I like that a lot about the space, and I see a very bright future for it as soon as bank financing comes back for those bigger deals.
You know, Marco Sr., every time Marco Jr. speaks, you get smarter.
I've noticed that.
All right, so let me ask you this, Marco Sr. When you were at Hard Rock, I feel like it overlapped, and you may have had something to do with it. That's when they started introducing some all-inclusive properties. Number one, am I correct on that? And number two, maybe you could follow up about why that worked back then and why you think it's going to be a great idea going forward as well.
Yeah, so it did overlap. It was with the Chapur family out of Miami, dear friends from years prior, and they've been immensely successful with Hard Rock and the all-inclusive format. I think that, formatting is critical, especially when you look at the Caribbean. All-inclusive doesn't work everywhere. All-inclusive, in my mind, will never work in a city like New York.
Of course.
There are too many other options. All-inclusive works when you're secluded and there's not a lot of other options, or when you're in places that are not the safest. Call it, I don't know, perhaps Jamaica, where you don't want to go out of the resort. It's got beautiful ocean and activities within these large compound resorts. And why leave if you've got 9 or 11 or all these different options of food and beverage, including room service? So it works terrific in those locations. I don't think it works great where you have culinary alternatives. Even if as you looked at the Caribbean, Puerto Rico would be a lot harder for me to imagine an all-inclusive, because they've got fantastic culinary scene in all of Puerto Rico. Why would you want to just stick to the resort when you're missing out from 30 or 40 fantastic restaurants? So it doesn't work everywhere in my mind. It only works in places where there's not tremendous other culinary opportunities.
That's why Glenn's first resort in Vegas, all-inclusive, didn't work out.
Yeah.
He tried to do an all-inclusive kosher resort, and it didn't work out.
But speaking about all-inclusive kosher resorts, I mean, you look at the Catskills; they were super successful.
Yeah, but not in Vegas.
Of course, not so much anymore. Which is, and on Monday's show, which is our next live show, we're going to be broadcasting live
from the Borscht Belt.
From Resorts World Catskills, which sits on the ground of the former Concord Resort, which is a kosher resort that I used to go to as a kid. So you're right, though, Marco Sr., because that is absolutely right, because we weren't going to be driving out anywhere. So we took their food and we ate it, and we were happy about it. But also other companies like Charisma Resorts, for example, I think has done a great job at really upping the quality of the food and making it an all-over experience. And Marco Jr., I got to throw this back to you. One of the things I like about it as a customer is knowing that I can eat as much as I want, but mostly that I don't have to start adding up if my wife and I want a cocktail. Oh, that's another $30 for this round. That's another $30 for this round. I think in particular for consumers, it makes them feel pretty good.
Yeah, you finally get to relax. You feel taken care of. It's what hospitality is ultimately all about. And to the extent that that part of the industry can start to get creative beyond just another all-inclusive beach resort, maybe rethinking that, to your point, Glenn, with some of the management companies out there who've taken it to the next level, or, even exploring like wellness, right? All-inclusive, you guys come out and included in your package are a couple of, personal training sessions and chef-inspired or high-end chef-inspired quality, healthy meals, and you're going to lose weight and feel good for this week. Or like I said, the mountain resort idea, and there's just unlimited other, I think, ways that segment could blow up beyond just cool beach towns.
Right. Excellent. Marco, anything to add to that? I see you nodding over there.
No, I think that's absolutely right. The segment that really excites us outside of extended stay is really what everybody's going to be looking for.
Uh-oh. Looks like we got a little freeze on him. He totally froze up and dropped off. That's a shame. So, Mark, you're going to have to take it now. You're the man in charge over here. So let's kick it back to you. In the next year, do you think you guys are going to go ahead and make that kind of an investment for a hospitality product? Not necessarily any sort of hotel. Wait, hold on. He's back.
Okay.
We lost you there for a second, Marco. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You have nothing to apologize for, but you can continue.
Yeah, so just resorts is the other area that we're very excited about, and we feel like the Chinese coined revenge travel is going to be a thing, and people will be wanting to get out to resorts as soon as safe.
So, all right, guys, so let me ask you this. If you're thinking about doing a resort or something like that, why not try to do a deal now? Because you're not going to open for 2, 3, 4 years, depending on how that goes.
Well, as luck would have it, we actually are looking at a resort in Mexico currently. We've been trying to pull that down for 2 years. And because it's Mexico, because it's a resort, because there's very limited cash available at this time, it's been challenging. But we keep on trying.
Yep, absolutely. Marco Jr., want to add to that?
Yeah, we're ready and eager as soon as the bank financing comes back for new development in the resort space. I think you will start to see U.S. assets and new development construction loans come back first, especially in select service and ESA or extended stay in general, since that's what's been performing well. And, this has been, of course, the toughest time in probably the history of our entire industry. And you still had profitable assets in that class. I think that's going to come back months ahead of more upper upscale and resort type properties. But we're hopeful that within a year, everything could be back on the table.
Excellent. Anthony, you got anything to ask before I
go? It's been a pleasure talking to you, gentlemen. And I hope that we cross paths really soon and we share a sandwich together.
Can't wait.
All right, I got one more question for you guys before I let you do a good shameless plug there. Could you give us some advice for somebody who's never invested in a hotel before? What are some of the things that they should start to think about in order to maybe kind of put together the amount of money they would need and the first steps they would take to even start thinking about being able to operate and own their own hotel?
Hire a guy named Anthony Melchiori or Marco.
Right.
I was going to say partner, right? Make sure that you find the right partner. Don't try to do it alone. This is my first attempt at trying hotel development, not working for a brand.
Right.
And it just takes very significant capital, but more importantly, it takes really great partners and really knowing what you're doing. And I've been doing this 36 years. We don't take it lightly. It's not something you wake up one day and decide to go into the space alone.
Yep.
And before I let Marco Jr. answer that, one of the things I will say from my perspective is there's two types of budgets, right? And there's two types of performers and forecasts. The one that everybody gets excited for to get the funding. and then the real one. And if you have an operation partner, okay, the real one is the one their butt's going to be held accountable for. So make sure the operation partner is building that budget and building that performer, because at the end of the day, it's their butt and your butt on the line. So I have never been in a development deal where there's not two sets of budgets and people are fighting it out to get to the real budget. If you don't have that voice of reason, if you don't understand really what happens in the 3 months prior, where maybe you have some cost overruns, maybe you have some delays, and then you have 6 months after with things that pop up, maybe the forecast is not where exactly it should be, so you have to have a little bit of cash flow. Or a little, you don't want a cash call with the owners the first 6 months. So there's so much to think about. But I have been in those meetings where, you had to hold me down, because I'm not signing my name to something because somebody else that's going to walk away eventually get their commission and say, hey, this will work, and then I have to be held accountable for it. I think that is the biggest problem that most people make.
Right, Marco Jr., any advice on your end?
I would probably piggy off of Anthony and my father and say that have plenty of room to flex your assumptions down. I'd say certainly compared to retail developers and to a lesser extent multifamily developers, who especially again on the retail side are able to pre-lease a building, or even office developers pre-lease a building for multiple years, and even before there's any existing structure, and go to the bank with that. That's what you're competing against for bank financing. And when it's limited like times like right now, you have to make sure that you're able to show potentially massive demand shocks and still be profitable. And if you can do that, I think you're going to get a lot of interest. And that's why extended stay has been hot right now. That's why we've been able to attract private equity money to that vertical. And I think to the extent others within the hospitality vertical can do that with the right deals in the right places, that's always going to be a recipe for success.
Beautiful. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. It's been a long time coming. I can't wait to see you guys on the road again and share a couple of cocktails with you. Thank you so much, guys. See you soon.
Thank you.
Anthony, that was fun. I really love learning about from the investment side of the business. We haven't done enough of that stuff before.
Yeah, we'll have some more on. Maybe we'll have Ray back from Pebblebrook. He was absolutely fascinating. You know, one of my favorite quotes is, "Make sure your mouth, the check that your mouth writes, your ass can cash." I absolutely screwed that up, but you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. You want to try it again?
Yes. Make sure that basically when you're talking and you're writing that check with your mouth, that when you have to do the work, your ass is going to be able to cash that check.
Right.
Okay. Is that better?
I was absolutely beautiful. Talking about something else that's beautiful. Don't forget, we're going to be at Resorts World Catskills with a live show.
I didn't know that was on the land of the Concord. I forgot that.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. I can't wait to see it. That'll be a whole lot of fun. And then on Tuesday, we're going to be back at the Roxbury Motel doing a live show. Previously, we had them on. We did a great show with them, great slideshow, learning all about how interesting.
We've never been there live together, have we?
No, we just had him on the show, and
right.
We did some slides and stuff like that. But I can't wait to actually be in the space. I think we're going to be in 3 separate different cottages. That should be a whole lot of fun.
Are you going? So we got to coordinate that, because I want to get you on camera, seeing it firsthand. I want to make sure we videotape that.
Yeah. All right. Maybe we could do a pre-roll and then roll it during the show.
And then David to do some quick editing, and then we can show it on the show, because I think you're going to be blown away. I know you're going to be blown away.
Well, you say it's like your favorite hotel ever, so that's a
the insanity of the detail is exhausting, and I've watched them do it for years, and I literally would shake inside, going, "How are they doing this?" You have never, trust me when I say this, I'm going to turn to you at one point and say, when I told you the insanity of the detail is at another level.
Right.
And I said, was I right? And I guarantee you're going to say, you're beyond right. Yeah. It is insane. You've never seen detail. Again, I go to the Wynn and I love the detail of the Wynn. This is a whole different level, because it's smaller, and you just have 2 amazing brains working on this project. It's literally breathtaking.
Excellent. I love it. All right. So let's wrap this show up today. Remember, everybody, I got one thing left to say. It's really important. Have you lowered your property taxes yet? No, now is the time. You know, 2020 was hard in revenues. get tax relief this year, reach out to Bright Support. They can help you. Book your free 30-minute consultation right now at www.brightsupport.net/hotels or call 833-411-2233. And of course, tell them No Vacancy sent you. Really appreciate you guys watching. Next Friday, starting at 5 p.m., I'm launching a brand new show. It's called Friday Night Audit. It's going to be happy hours at 5 p.m. We're going to make cocktails. We're going to review the week. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to make fun of each other. We're going to laugh. It's going to.
Who are you doing that with? This is the first I'm hearing about it.
We talked about this. Don't pretend like you haven't heard about it. It's with my buddy Craig Sullivan, who does the California Lodging Investment Conference and Click Connect TV series. So looking forward to that one. Anthony, I can't wait to have you on. To join.
No. The reason you're not doing it with me is because I hate those Friday cocktail shows that we used to do.
Exactly right. I said we got to find. I said Anthony's not going to be co-hosting with me, and this for some reason, because he hates cocktails. But I said to myself, let's get this drink thing going. People liked it. Anthony doesn't love it.
I love cocktails, and I love these Zoom cocktail parties. I don't like podcasting Zoom because I have to work and drink, and I don't like doing those things together.
That's fine. But even when you come on, you don't have to feel like you have to work at all.
I'm going to come on and blow up your entire show and just completely undermine everything.
It's going to be great. We're going to be doing, we're going to show retro TV ads. We're going to do improv games. It should be a whole lot of fun. 5 p.m. right on our channels that I broadcast off next Friday, 5 p.m. with me and Craig Sullivan. Anthony, anything that you want to talk about before we go?
No, sir.
All right, guys. See you on Monday. Remember, subscribe to our newsletter. Text the word hotel to 66866. Get the audio version of Checking In with Anthony and Glenn right now on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and of course, wherever you like to get your podcasts. The kids are talking about how much they like Stitcher these days. We're there. Don't worry about it. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, guys, you got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.